Kimmi Scott is clearly in a mood where she's not holding anything back anymore. It's like she's reached that point where silence just doesn't fit her piece anymore, and instead of clapping back with names or messy arguments, she's letting her words do the work for her. Recently, Kimmi shared a post that got everyone talking, and it wasn't even long, it was simple, but powerful. She said, "I never realized how well my mother raised me until I got older and met other people." Now, at first glance, that might sound like a harmless statement about gratitude, but when you look deeper and think about what's been happening around her on Love and Marriage, Huntsville, you can tell exactly what she meant. This wasn't just a random post about parenting. This was Kimmi throwing subtle but clear shots at the people who have been coming for her, questioning her morals, and making unnecessary drama online and off. Kimmi's post instantly had fans nodding because she's always been known as the calm one, the balanced one, the one who tries not to get involved in the chaos too much. But when a person like that starts posting things about realizing how well they were raised after meeting other people, that's not just shade, it's a full tree. It's her way of saying she's met some grown adults who clearly didn't have the same kind of guidance, class, or respect that she carries herself with. And fans caught on immediately. Many people started commenting, saying things like, "Kimmi said what needed to be said, and she's too classy to name names, but we know exactly who she's talking about." Whether that's aimed at castmates, at online critics, or even at certain people who've been stirring the pot lately, one thing's for sure, Kimmi's not biting her tongue anymore. For a long time, Kimmi has had to deal with people making assumptions about her, especially when it comes to her relationships and friendships on the show. Some think she plays both sides, others feel like she doesn't speak up enough when things go wrong. But this message sounded different. It sounded like someone who's been watching how people move, how they treat others, how they gossip, and finally decided to say, "Y'all weren't raised the same way I was." And honestly, she's right. Because on this show and in this circle, respect has often been the first thing thrown out the window. Kimmi has been called everything from too nice to too passive, but at this point, she's showing that being raised right doesn't mean staying quiet forever, it means knowing when to speak and how to speak without losing your class. And that's exactly what she did here. Now, while Kimmi was quietly sending shots in the classiest way possible, over on the other side of town, there's someone who clearly can't stay out of the headlines no matter what season it is, Miss Arionne Curry. When it comes to Arionne and Martell Holt, it's like their drama has its own life at this point. No matter how much time goes by, something always pulls them back into the spotlight. And just when you think things have cooled down, Arionne finds a way to make everyone talk again. Recently, she decided to repost that infamous picture of her and Martell, the same one she had taken down before when things got messy between them. Now it's back up, and the caption says it all, "My man, my man, my man." That's right, Arionne put that picture right back up for the world to see, and fans couldn't help but react. Because the back and forth between her and Martell has been one long roller coaster of posts, deletes, blocks, and reconciliations. When she deleted the picture before, people thought it was over for good. But now that it's back up, everyone's wondering if this means they're officially back together or just playing the same game again. And to make it even more interesting, right after posting that, Arionne also shared another message that said, "I'm in my done era. Not mad, not bothered, just done. I'm protecting my peace at all costs." Now that right there confused everybody. Because how can you say you're in your done era and that you're protecting your peace right after posting a picture with the same man who caused all the chaos in the first place? People online were quick to call her out. Some said, Arionne says she's unbothered every other week, while others pointed out that this is her usual pattern, say you're done, then post Martell again, then delete it later when things go left. It's like clockwork at this point. And honestly, this might be one of those moments where she's trying to prove to people that she doesn't care what they think. But the thing is, every time she posts him, the reaction proves that she does care, at least a little bit. Because if she was truly unbothered, she wouldn't have to show it. She'd just move in silence. But one thing about Arionne, she loves a little attention, especially when she feels like she's being underestimated or talked about. She's said it before, she doesn't like people making assumptions about her, and she wants to show that she's in control. And right now, she's trying to paint the picture that she's happy, at peace, and unbothered, while also showing that her connection with Martell is still there. Whether that's a real relationship or just social media mind games, it's hard to tell. Because every time fans think they've figured them out, they flip the script again. What's also got people talking is the rumor that Martell might still be entertaining other women, including Sherry Whitfield from The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Allegedly, word on the street is that Martell and Sherry were still in contact, and that might have been part of the reason why Arionne took that picture down the first time. But now that it's back up, fans are wondering if Sherry decided she was done, and Martell just circled back to what's familiar. It's messy, but it's the kind of messy that keeps everyone watching. One commenter even said, "Some woman must have sent him back home, and now Arionne's happy again." And honestly, that sounds about right. Because every time there's drama between Martell and another woman, Arionne suddenly pops up online acting like she won. Now, there's another layer to this whole situation that makes it even messier. Martell has claimed before that he's been supporting Arionne financially, especially with her schooling. She said she's in nursing school, and he's mentioned on Love and Marriage, Huntsville, that he's been helping her with expenses. But fans are skeptical. Many people online think that Arionne might be exaggerating about being in nursing school, and that Martell might be using that as a talking point to make himself look like a provider. Others think that if he really is paying for her schooling, it's not out of kindness, it's control. Because let's be real, Martell has a pattern of wanting to have power in his relationships. And if he's funding her education, you can bet he'll find a way to remind her of it later. Some fans have even joked that if Martell is paying for her nursing school, he's probably expecting that money back or looking at it like an investment. And knowing how their relationship works, that's not far-fetched. Martell's been known to make grand gestures, but then later use them to manipulate or guilt the person he helped. It's a cycle that everyone watching has seen play out before. From allegedly taking back gifts from his ex to reusing them for Arionne, to making public claims that make people question his motives, Martell is always in the middle of some kind of storm. And Arionne? She keeps letting herself get pulled back in. Even though Arionne keeps saying she's protecting her peace, fans can't help but feel like she's still very much in the middle of chaos. Because peace doesn't usually come with reposted drama and cryptic captions. And honestly, a lot of people want to see her do better. She's young, she has potential, and if she really focused on her goals instead of these online games, she could have a fresh start. But as long as Martell's name is involved, it's hard to believe anything is really calm. While all of this is going down with Arionne and Martell, Latisha Scott is also making her presence known, but in a very different way. It's her birthday, and she's letting everyone know it. She's in full celebration mode, reminding folks that her special day is here and that she plans to enjoy it to the fullest. She's been vocal online, saying, "My birthday tomorrow. My birthday tomorrow." And fans already know that means she's probably going to be celebrating at her and Marceau's lounge, Black. It's her place of comfort, her pride, and where she loves to host. So it's safe to say that she'll be surrounded by friends, family, and maybe even some castmates if things aren't too awkward. What's interesting is how Latisha always manages to show up with confidence, even when things behind the scenes might not be perfect. There's been so much chatter lately about her marriage, her business, and how she deals with criticism. But for her birthday, it looks like she's putting all that aside and just focusing on herself. Fans might not always agree with her choices, but one thing about Latisha, she doesn't back down from showing that she's living her life. Whether people love her or not, she's going to celebrate and remind everyone that she's still standing now. Speaking of celebrating, some folks at the party caught attention too, especially the cigar moments. There were women smoking cigars, having a good time, and as the video showed, that included Latisha and a few of the ladies. The topic of women smoking cigars always brings mixed opinions. Some people see it as empowering or classy, while others think it's not ladylike. Even the person covering the event said they personally don't like cigars and don't smoke at all. But they noted that the ladies of Love and Marriage, Huntsville, seem to enjoy it, especially at events or gatherings. It's become a bit of a trademark image for some of them, strong women who can sit back and puff a cigar just like the men, showing that they belong in every space they step into. But back to Latisha's moment, this birthday seems to come with more meaning than usual. Maybe it's because of how much has been said about her family lately, or maybe it's just that she's feeling like it's time to remind people she's still in control of her story. Either way, she's clearly in a celebratory mood. And honestly, with all the shade, the rumors, and the side conversations that have been happening between cast members and online fans, it's refreshing to see someone actually smiling and focusing on the positive, even if it's just for a weekend. When you look at everything going on, Kimmi's classy clapback, Arionne's messy social media games, and Latisha's confidence celebration, you can't help but notice how different each of these women handle pressure. Kimmi chooses her words carefully, making her point without chaos. Arionne chooses visibility, reminding people she's still in Martell's life, even if it's complicated. And Latisha chooses confidence, living her life out loud no matter what people say about her. Each one represents a different kind of response to judgment, to gossip, to online noise. And that's part of why Love and Marriage, Huntsville keeps people so invested. It's not just a show about relationships, it's about how people deal with perception, pain, and pride. At this point, Kimmi's message might just be the most relatable one. When she said she didn't realize how well her mother raised her until she met other people, that hit home for a lot of fans. Because sometimes, maturity really shows when you see how others act. You start to realize that being respectful, composed, and emotionally stable are qualities that not everyone learned. And in a world where everyone wants to be loud and right, being calm and grounded is actually a power move. Kimmi reminded everyone that class doesn't have to be loud. Shade doesn't have to be messy. And lessons don't have to be shouted to be understood. Meanwhile, Arionne's story feels like a lesson in cycles. A lot of people watching are tired of seeing her go through the same motions, post Martell, delete Martell, say she's done, and then repeat it all again. It's like watching someone who knows they deserve better but just can't walk away. And fans are starting to call it out not because they hate her, but because they've seen this pattern too many times. Everyone's rooting for her to finally choose herself for real, not just online. Because peace doesn't come from posting, it comes from letting go. And then there's Latisha, who's clearly decided that her birthday is her time to shine, no matter what people have to say. She's celebrating herself loudly, living her truth, and standing in her confidence. Whether people think she's wrong or right in how she handles things, she's owning it. And at the end of the day, that's something you can't take away from her. So, when you look at all three of these women, Kimmi throwing subtle shots, Arionne posting and deleting, and Latisha celebrating her birthday, you see the entire range of what it means to live under the spotlight. Some choose grace, some choose noise, and some choose confidence. But each one is fighting to control their own narrative. Maybe Kimmi's post was the quiet reminder everyone needed. Not everyone was raised the same, not everyone values the same things, and sometimes the best response is to let your maturity speak for itself. Because while some people are out here deleting posts and reposting them again, or shouting their happiness online to prove a point, Kimmi just posted a sentence and it spoke louder than any argument ever could.